Hello, good evening, and welcome back. A more laid-back video this evening. A columnist from the Metro. The racial debt gap in the UK disproportionately affects black and Asian households. I didn't even know that the racial debt gap was a thing, but hey, when you're in this deep in intersectionality, there is no limit. You should never go full retard. In other words, you can't say, it's another protected group, no! It's just a Venn diagram that's looking more and more like the Olympics every day. It's easy to assume that debt affects everybody in the same way. Can't pay, we'll take it away. Whether you have a mortgage, credit cards, or short-term loans, debt is debt and anyone can get into it, right? Yeah, unless you're a merchant banker with a 10, 12 million pound bonus and then you lose everybody's money and then they pay you bonuses for losing people's money and then you keep your money. So, except for them. Yeah, that's it. Well, not exactly. Structural inequalities and systemic barriers mean that certain groups in the UK are disproportionately affected by debt, and ethnic minorities are faring the worst. Structural inequalities and systemic barriers. She doesn't get into this at all, so we don't really have to worry about it. She just states it and goes, yep, that's a fact, moving on. Let's just end the article here. Just, it affects the brown people worse, because it's racist. Yep. Why aren't they doing better in the countries where they're from? As in, where it's just homogenously that culture. Really gets you knocking jogging, doesn't it? It's like, surely, if it's down to racism, then why do these people keep coming to the UK? You seem to be suggesting then that they're stupid and don't understand what's going on. That seems a bit racist of you. And if it is the fact that it's racism, then why aren't these countries doing so well on their own? What about India? They've got a lovely railway system. You can thank the British for that. Anyway, it's difficult to paint a comprehensive picture of just how significant this ethnicity debt gap is. None of the studies that collate the UK's level of debt include ethnicity in their analysis. Maybe because they just thought, so we want to go down the racist path? Nah, we'll skip that one today, John. Alright, sure thing, Jim. And now you're complaining because they didn't include race, but if they did, then you would have said that was bad, but you're going to glean some data anyway, so let's see what you've got. A 2014 study looked at the residents of Newham, the borough with the highest concentration of black and minority ethnic groups in the country, and found that the community had a significant problem with long-term debt. Sorry, just one thing kind of leads into the other. If you've got crime there, you've probably got poverty as well, because who really wants to invest in an area where they're going to get burgled? That's a quote. Debt has affected almost all households in our study, wrote researchers in their conclusion. Over half of the households we interviewed are already in debt, and most of the rest have either been in debt or are at risk of debt. Sounds to me like their money handling skills are pretty shit. But of course, you know the rule of intersectionality, you can't blame the individual unless they're a straight white man. But then it's the patriarchy, so it's not an individual. So you can't blame an individual. You can't hold people responsible for their own actions. That is a core tenet belief of intersectionality and left-wingers and socialists. Never down to the individual. It's always the structure that's the fault. Basically, if you think the world's out to get you, it's not you with the problem, it's the entire world, because that's how you're going to get through life without being a paranoid schizophrenic. Fucking hell. Within the population of Newham, Indian is the largest group with a 14% share, followed by Bangladeshi 13%, Black African 12%, and Pakistani 10%. Oh, so it's quite a good sample of multiculturalism, is it? Quite a good bit of diversity. So as we all know, including diversity, ethnic diversity in your hires, means that your company then thrives, because they're so good. So obviously this is going to be the most affluent part of the country by far. So, it is significant that the study found only 1 in 10 Newham residents say they are financially comfortable. Oh shit, that kind of shoots the narrative out the water. How do they even try and equal to say, yes, you should hire this marginalised group because they're really good for your business and for money. But at the same time, this marginalised group is awful with money. And they're being persecuted or something. So, at least the anti-Semites to have a standing to say the Jews seem to do really well. Yes, they do. Have you considered that they care a lot about education and the family structure and therefore earning a lot of money? Seems as if that's a path for success. Only 1 in 10 Newham residents say they are financially comfortable, compared with 1 in 4 Londoners. That isn't a problem exclusive to Newham, you see it throughout the UK. And according to the findings of the Race Disparity Audit, because that's a thing that definitely needed taxpayer funding, 1 in 5 children in black households live in persistent poverty. Why might that be? Might it be, just like the image you've given here, of a black woman on her own? Why would parents who are in poverty or on the cusp think, here's a great idea, let's have a child who can't help support our family, but will actually use up our resources? What a great idea, Margaret. Thank you, Peter. Don't think that's the kind of conversation that goes down, is it? No. It's more likely that somebody is more blasé about their attitudes towards sex and contraception, and therefore end up having a child while the father of the child isn't around at all. Then you have to raise them on your own, and you weren't expecting a child to be there anyway, and then you hope to marry the state, and that's why then you don't like the Tories, because they try and make you responsible for your own actions, and that can't be acceptable, can it? So, why do 1 in 5 children in black households live in persistent poverty? Let's not ask that question, because if you want to talk about uncomfortable truths, that's where you really get to the heart of it, don't you? And then, of course, then you don't have the male role model, in which case then the children go to crime, and then there's more crime, and there's more poverty, and so on. But let's ignore that blatant, undeniable truth. And for those who aren't in poverty, systemic inequalities mean there are limitations on earning and progression potential. Let's just do another assertion without fact, which all increases the risk of falling into debt and make it harder to get out of. Systemic inequalities mean there are limitations on earning and progression potential. So, employers, whoever it might be, are excluding particular races, ethnicities, genders, whatever you want to call it then. I don't know what your protected group is at the moment. They're excluding them based on those characteristics. So you're talking about straight white men. Brilliant. Because as we all know, you've got quotas for those. You've got your BAME initiatives. I mean, it seems funny that those cultures really need it, seeing as the other ones don't. I mean, the Chinese don't. Look at them. Oh, and we will. We will be looking at the Chinese today, so get your chopsticks ready. And as you will see, they don't need the help, but apparently these BAME people do, would suggest to me that they don't think they're very smart. But the soft bigotry of low expectations is what I fear. It goes hand in hand with not taking personal responsibility. We can't trust the brown people to be clever. That would be fair. But yes, it all increases the risk of falling into debt to make it harder to get out of. Why? Do you have an example? Maybe you would find someone who is really down on their luck, and therefore the reader would have sympathy for them, because you're going to show an example which is far from the norm, therefore to evoke an emotional response, because feelings matter more than facts, don't they? So you're going to find a really hard-working person with a really good job who's just not getting there because their racist boss isn't paying them what they deserve. Okay. The impact of migration and cultural attitudes towards money also contribute to the unequal levels of debt in this country. Oh, hang on. The impact of migration contributes to the unequal levels of debt in this country. You're saying immigration isn't good for the immigrants already here? I'm glad we agree. Brilliant. Let's put a sharp decrease on immigration. Sounds good. I'm glad we agree. And cultural attitudes towards money. If you want to be generous, then you're going to say, oh, so the white British people don't give money to the foreigners. That isn't actually what she says. What she says is the culture's coming in. So basically, you've got people coming into the country who are causing debt to the ethnic minorities here, at the same time creating their own debt. So what you're saying is we should close the borders, because you're getting people in here to have debt, having miserable lives, they don't enjoy it, in which case, don't come in the first place, you're not going to enjoy it, go live your happy life somewhere else, and people here don't want it, so win-win, brilliant. So, let's see their example of racism in the workplace. Tanya Day is a blogger. Oh shit, no, this, abort, this ain't working. Of all the job positions to pick. A blogger, yes, because we all know that's a highly skilled, hard-working role. So, but hey, boss, what are you doing? It's like, yes, I'm a vlogger, haha, or I'm a political commentator. I don't know. I'm just having a laugh. Not my job though. I don't have a cushion to fall back on. We're gonna get to that. But Tanya Day is a blogger. Her parents are from Jamaica, and she's the first generation of her family to be born in the United Kingdom. How do your parents feel about your job? She says the financial reality of her life is completely different to what her parents experienced, not being in the country, and the generational dissonance has contributed to the serious debt she has found herself in. Oh, hang on. So when her parents came here, which we all know was more racist in the past, it was easier for them than for you. So the problem isn't the country, it's you. Take personal responsibility. There are pressures in this new financial world that my parents and my grandparents never had to face. Credit was never an option for them. Right? They couldn't take out a loan, so the problem is just being given money. As in loans. Just saying, we will lend you this money if you pay it back. Brilliant. That sounds like free money to me, and I'm not even joking. To quote her, their idea of money is so different to mine, they had to hang on to every penny and work so hard to get their home. Welcome to the world. For me, credit often feels like a gift, like something I don't necessarily have to give back. Well, I think, dear columnist, what's your name again? Miss Morris, I think Miss Morris, you picked a terrible example here. That you're saying somebody doesn't understand how loans work, and that's why they're getting into debt. Which, surely your example should be indicative of the wider problem, in which case you can extrapolate out from here that the problem is people are in debt is because they don't understand how loans work and they're really bad at handling money. That doesn't sound like it's a systemic problem or a structural inequality, it just sounds like it's something that these cultures don't know how to tend with. And if they don't want a society that uses money as a medium for currency, then find somewhere else. You'll be happier there. Tanya is keen to take responsibility for her debt and her problematic spending. She spent years climbing out of debt before falling straight back into it. Not really taking responsibility then. And she puts that down to carelessness and lack of awareness about her personal financial situation. Good, so she's not complaining, doesn't care, good. But she's just saying her culture keeps it quiet and, yeah, let's not get caught up. Who gives a shit? So, she says, earning a salary doesn't adequately cover her cost of living. So, live somewhere cheaper, live with a friend, live with your family. Brilliant, sorted. This isn't... roommates, housemates, all that good stuff, yeah. This isn't surprising given the ethnicity pay gap that exists in the UK today. Right. Almost all black and ethnic minority groups of workers are paid less than their white British counterparts. Almost all. Almost. A weasel word has risen up. I wonder who they're talking about. White British workers earn an average of 3.8% more, and the gap rises to 20% for some ethnic groups. This means the ethnic minority groups affected by this pay gap face a higher risk of getting into debt. But this is hyperlinked. So, where does this go? Oh, it goes to a gov.uk site. Earnings and working hours, ethnicity pay gaps in Great Britain 2018. Oh, I wonder if they have a handy little chart. Oh, they do. Oh, what's this then? This is saying there was a mixed picture when looking at pay gaps between ethnic minority employees and white British employees. A mixed picture, which means there aren't structural inequalities. Surely. Unless you're going to pick on one ethnicity in particular and beat it down, unless it's been decreasing tremendously, then no. A percentage difference between gross hourly earnings, including overtime for ethnic minority employees and white British employees, Great Britain 2012-2018, right. Essentially, this line says, so if it's positive, it's the percentage of how much more the white British earn in comparison, and if it's negative, it's percentage in proportion of how much that group earns more than white British, essentially, or how much white British earns less. So, latest group, 2018, and you can already see a runaway winner. So, white other earn 5.8% less, or minors earn 5.8% more, there we are. Compared to Pakistani immigrants, white earners earn 16.9% more, and Bangladeshi 20.2% more. Wow, it really does seem like they favour white British over people who come from, Middle East, India, Asia, that kind of area. I mean, clearly. So, Indians actually earn 12% more than white British. Well, shit. That kind of destroys the narrative completely, doesn't it? Oh, but that's okay, because any other Asian earn 4% less than the white British. Except for the Chinese, who earn 31% more. Oh, that's shit. That's basically a third more. That's the biggest disparity by a long shot. Consider, back in the article, they were saying, the gap rises to 20% for some ethnic groups. Oh my god! Yeah, 1.5 times that for Chinese. Ah. So, the Chinese are almost double what the Bangladeshi are. So it seems like it's actually a cultural shift instead of racism. Funny that. Black African, Caribbean or Black British, 9.2% less. Other ethnic groups, 9.2% less. Mixed or multiple, earn 2.5% more. So there you go. Race mixing is actually better than being white British. So take that, white supremacists. But hey, if you really want to go far, be Chinese. There's a winning formula in there somewhere. And if you look at the past and how it's gone, they have gone away with it. Look at that, the Chinese at the bottom there. Wow. Everything else seems to be coming closer towards the medium here. It's all coming in at the top, decreasing that gap from back here, of course. Bangladesh out nearly 30%, and then it's really running away there. So that I don't really need to go on after that. That really blows it out of the water to say Indians are earning more than the white British, but Pakistan, Bangladesh are earning less. So have you thought about where the actual problem is? There is just no self-awareness in this article at all. But the humble penny says, it's clear that the existence of a racial debt gap in itself feeds a much bigger wealth gap between black and white households in the UK, explains Ken Okorofa, personal finance expert and founder of the Humble Penny. So the racial debt gap shows the wealth gap. Yep. Well done. You've said the same thing twice. Ken says that in his experience of helping a diverse clientele, so not white, with their personal finances, there are stacks of unwritten structural inequalities that are fueling this resulting debt gap. Oh good, we're going to get into something, aren't we? Everything from unequal pay to unequal opportunities driven by a difference in skin colour, says Ken. Oh, so they are just legitimately breaking the law. Brilliant. So how many court cases have you had, Ken? None. Funny that. You're lying. It's not that black households are not hardworking enough to make more money, or are not smart enough to stay out of bad debt and use good debt to create wealth instead, for investments and the like. It is that for most of these households, the game is being played from a place of disadvantage. More times than not, there are no other choices available. We're getting real close to race realism here, Ken. Careful where you're treading. Understanding the cause and effects of the structural inequalities that feed the debt and wealth gap is a crucial step forward in helping to tackle them. What are they? Can you name one? What can black people do that white people can't? Oh, sorry. What can white people do that black people can't? Swim? Is that it? What can black people do that white people can't? Run? Dance? Jump? Is that what you're going for? I don't get it. Ken says there are two inequalities at the heart of the debt gap. The first is home ownership. Home ownership rates for black families is 24%, which is less than half the UK average of 53%. It's bad for renting. Yeah, cool, so cut immigration. Cool, glad we agree. Yet again, decrease immigration. Second key inequality that Ken identifies is income and persistent poverty. Between 2015 and 2018, black households were most likely out of all ethnic groups to have a weekly income of less than £400. Yeah, it's, I've been there too. Quite recently. Does that mean I'm in poverty? Oh. And if I've done that on months at a time, I'm in persistent poverty. Okay, good to know. I didn't feel like that because I live within my means, but apparently I've been in poverty. Good job. And I know it says households, and yes, I mean that as well, because I'm the one income earner, so yes. With low income comes the need to seek out credit as a means to get by daily, says Ken. This gradually builds up and becomes the norm for a lot of black families. Why? Why do you have a family if you can't support them? And why do you need to seek out credit? You find a cheaper place to live. If you have a weekly income of less than £400, then live with other income earners, and then you can share a home. Then you have a better sense of community as well. And then it's just better for everyone involved as long as you get on with who you're living with. It's like a family that you get to choose. So do that. Then build up your money, build up your experience, your knowledge, get a better paying job, and go from there. Super simple stuff. You could easily live on £400 a week if you house share. Yeah. Christ. But that's just speaking from experience. So this gradually builds up and becomes the norm for a lot of black families. Yeah, cool. Ken believes that the only way to address this dead gap is to take on the underlying problems that are causing the persistent disparity in wealth between white households and minority households in the UK. And you're going to love this. That they say that first immigration need to support their parents as well. So basically parents coming saying, yes, Britain is better opportunities, now child, take care of me. Okay, so Britain is better opportunity, so not racist, good to know. Or we are racist and have been for a long time and that's why we're successful? Hang on a minute. So, they mention that lovely bit about being white, where they say that it's more difficult for black people, essentially, because white people have a cushion to fall back on. She says the pressures that ethnic minorities and immigrant families in this country face should never be underestimated, and that ultimately the dead gap stems from not having the same advantages and opportunities as everyone else. That's just the situation that you're born into, and if you want that to be addressed, then maybe look at the black fatherlessness. Maybe go there. That's the problem. So, here's what the lovely lady says. You're basically told from day one of your life, look, you have to behave properly. Yeah, well done. You have to set goals for yourself. Achievable, smart goals. You have to achieve certain things, and then you have to see your white counterparts in Britain running around doing as they wish, knowing they have a financial cushion that we don't have. What the fuck are you talking about? When do I get my check for being white? I really could have done with that at several points in my life. That would have been delightful. But that's not true. You remind me of Bernie Sanders saying that white people don't know what it's like to be poor. I mean, it's this level of deliriousness that at some point you've got to think that these people are just harming themselves. They don't understand reality. They don't actually know what's going on, and therefore they're just driving themselves into this perpetual state of frenzy. And because of that, now they're creating this divide and being hostile towards members of different ethnic groups that they don't know. And this is how you perpetuate racism if you want. You just say, oh, this white person gets to do what they wish. It's not the fact that maybe they live within their means. Maybe if you see someone being successful, you should ask them, how do you become successful? What have you done? What traits do you possess that I can copy? Instead of just saying, oh, you must have it easy because you're doing well. It's like, no, that's just not true, and that is the reason you're poor. Because you think you're stuck there, and you don't think you can take responsibility for it and get out of it, and therefore you will always stay in your current position. You can only change your scenario when you realise you're the reason you're in that scenario.